And I'm Allison Maloney, a Pennsylvania teen who expressed her frustration on social media for not making the varsity cheer squad make it her day in court. The online rant got her suspended, and the U.S. Court of Appeals in Philadelphia said the First Amendment does not allow public schools to punish students for speech outside of school grounds. Now, the school's district is asking the Supreme Court to rule on whether or not students may be disciplined for what they say online. Joining us now to discuss is Thane Rosenblum, Distinguished University Professor, Arcturo College. Thank you for joining us today. So take us through this case. So from what I understand, she posted something on Snapchat or social media, upset about that she didn't make the cheer squad. Then the school suspended her. So take us through this.
So she invoked the F word 4 times with respect to cheerleading, the softball team. Obviously, she was just frustrated that day. This was on a weekend on her own social media account. And as she says, she wasn't threatening anyone, harassing anyone. She was just really letting off a lot of steam with F words in Snapchat. Remember, Allison, Snapchat disappears. So the only reason it remained is because someone took a screenshot of it. The lower court ruled in a much broader fashion and said, if you're off campus, the school has no right to regulate your speech. It's only when you're on campus. That was a much more permissive rule than some of the other federal courts around the country that said that schools can actually regulate a student's social media account if the social media postings, in fact, disrupt the school or the activities of the school. And that's probably why the Supreme Court might hear this case, because there's a split in the circuit. And the real question is, how far can schools go to regulate social media accounts when the student is not on campus? But remember, nowadays, Allison and Bob, campus is home. Today, during COVID, and through the internet, there's a blurring of the lines of are you home or are you not home? So the real question is, what constitutes off campus when you're on your social media account, and what constitutes disrupting the school?
So now that you've laid out the general arguments, let's say you're on the court. Mr. Justice, what is your decision?
Bob, I love that you always elevate me like that. No one else, Bob, has ever put me on the court before. That's why I love your show.
Well, there's always the future.
Thank you. Well, the Supreme Court has ruled in 1969, for instance, that students have First Amendment rights to wear black armbands to protest the Vietnam War. And the school can't stop them because it's a political statement that they're making, as long as they're not disrupting the school. For instance, the kids couldn't get up in the middle of class and start making a speech and interrupting the teacher about the Vietnam War. But if they just want to wear the armbands. In 2007, the Supreme Court agreed with a principal that suspended a student who outside of campus had a banner that said "Bong hits for Jesus," right? And so for some reason, that principal said that bong hits for Jesus could cause a disruption to the school. In my recent book, I take a minority view in which I don't think this has anything to do, and I would be the minority justice, Bob, here. I don't think this has anything to do with the First Amendment. The founding fathers really were concerned about political issues, debating topical ideas and policies, advancing science and culture and art, criticizing the government. Do they really care about dropping a few F-bombs off, to protect that? There's nothing to protect there. If the school thinks that you shouldn't, on social media in the new era, engage in speech that is profane, then that's, I guess they can do that, just like that they can say bong hits for Jesus are also not protected by the First Amendment. If she had said something that was political or even criticizing the policies of the school, that, because it's a public school, should be protected under the First Amendment. But the fact that she's upset that she wasn't on the varsity cheerleading and she doesn't like the softball team, and she associated those feelings with an F-bomb, I just don't see the Supreme Court caring that much about it.
Yeah, I think the big question, right, is if she said it during school time, which she wasn't on school campus at that time. So what she said and expressed her feelings, she wasn't doing while she was in school. So it would be the same thing as if she was just talking to her friends and somebody, recorded her, or she had a phone conversation back in the day. But now everything is on social media, and I think what the school is confused on is the lines are blurred, right?
Yeah, I think that's right, Allison. Again, even though she was off campus and it was on a weekend, if she had threatened other students, if she was criticizing the policies of the school, and that point, if she was criticizing the policies of the school, I think she has a First Amendment right to do that. But here, you're right. The lower court, what was the problem here for the Supreme Court is, Allison, the lower court here basically said everything is okay if it's off campus. And the question was, is that ruling too broad? The question is, if I was on the Supreme Court, do I think it's too broad to say, as long as the students are off campus, they can go on their own private social media account and they can say anything they want. But remember, all of us know to be on guard with social media. We all know that it can one day be used against us. And so there may be an argument that the school says, I don't care if it's a Sunday or a Saturday. If you're doing F-bombs, that does not reflect well on the decorum of our school. And that is going to cause other kids to use F-bombs. And I think that's what the school is essentially saying. We really believe that in the era of social media, every minute of the day is the school day if you're on social media.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Great
Thank you so much, Professor Rosenbaum. Thank you so much.
We'll be back with more American Agenda after this.
We appreciate you joining us. We'll be back with more of American Agenda.